Well, hey, it's Catherine from CatherinePooler.com. We are just about at the tail end of our Winter Haven Stamp of Approval release week. So we have our launch coming up October 10th, Tuesday, 9 a.m. Eastern. The waitlist gets their link to purchase the collection. The evening before, if you're a Stamp Nation member, we will have a pajama party release, and you guys get your link early. So if you've not been following along with our blog hops, you're going to want to hop over to CatherinePooler.com/blog. Check out the last few days of posts. If you watch the videos, you will see all of the products that come in this collection. We have one background stamp right here, Ornamentals. We have a 6x8 stamp set. We have two 4x6 stamp sets. We have the Winter Haven Village dies. We have the Good Stuff dies. And then we also have this Joy Wreath. So that is, those are all the products that come in your collection. And yeah, I'm going to make a card today using some of them. So I'm using the Ornamentals. I'm just inking it up with my Versamark ink. I actually had not thought of using it in this way, but I saw Ingrid. She made a card and she had a little bit of background sticking out from one of her layers, and it had the Ornamentals stamped in Versamark in clear embossed. And oh my goodness, I was smitten with it. I loved the subtle beauty of it, and I decided that I wanted to make that a big part of this card. So that is one of the great things that we have going for us with our designers. They all bring different ideas to the table, and the great thing is we can case their ideas. Now I'm doing this 3 times just because I want to make sure I have a really, really good coating of Versamark, because I want my clear embossing powder to stick and I want it to be pretty close to perfect. So if you're not familiar with the idea of casing, it's copy and share everything. And the idea behind it is using other people's artwork as inspiration for your own. So I like to tell people, when I started stamping about a decade and a half ago, I copied every single card that I made for over a year. I just found cards in catalogs and magazines that I liked, and I copied them. So that's kind of how I got my feet wet, and I kind of learned how to use products. I learned about design. I learned about putting different elements together and how products work and how they complement each other. And that's how I learned to stamp. So I encourage you guys to do the same thing. I have my white embossing powder on here now, and I'm just going to heat it. So it's going to take a minute to heat up, and then the powder will melt and it will turn shiny. I'm trying not to hold the end, although I am going to cut this piece down a little bit, so if I do get my finger on the edge in the powder and mess it up, that's okay, because I'll just trim the end off. Oh, you know what? Did you guys notice I was talking about using clear embossing powder, and guess what? I'm using white. So I think that's fine. It's going to give a really fun effect anyway. So clear or white is going to be a great tone-on-tone background. And then I think some of the designers have also done like a watercolor wash or sponging behind the white embossed ornamental background, and it just looks incredible. So I may have to make a couple cards similar to this and do each one a little different. But again, back to the designers, the cards that they've made, feel free to copy any of them. So now that that is embossed, I am going to funnel this right back into the container. And just a tip, this little container is amazing, but clear and white I use all the time. And I don't know if you guys have ever seen, we have giant containers like this. I think it's 10 times as much as this, but we have giant containers in our store, and they've kind of been flying off the shelf. So if you love white and clear, you might want to get the big jar because it's a huge value. It's way cheaper to get the big jar. And then you won't find yourself stuck in a situation where you ran out of embossing powder and you're working on a project. Okay, so I'm going to grab Lime Rickey and Grass Skirt. I'm going to make a little color palette. I have a water brush. These are also in our store now. And I'm going to just drop color onto the greenery. and maybe add some spots where it's a little darker. And as I'm working on this, I can also squeeze my brush and see extra water comes out. I'm leaving some areas where I want to add in red. I'm leaving those so that I can come back and do the red later. When you're doing a lot of water and watercoloring, you want to have a paper towel on hand to dab up any extras and extra water on your craft mat. Okay, so I'm just going back, covering my leaves with water. I'm going to go Lime Rickey first. And then we'll add a little grass skirt and let that water kind of move around and give an interesting look. I'm going to let that dry. You can also speed it up with your heat tool. Okay, so now I'm going to grab Rockin Red. And if I didn't dry it, then I would run into a problem with the red wicking into the green. So now that I have it dry, the red should stay put. And I'm just going to dab on red onto the little berries. So now my wreath is colored and dry. I'm going to set it aside and I'm going to work on the Joy. So I did this, oh, let's see, I'm looking for my adhesive. I did this or something similar on our live stream the other day, and then I referenced it in my blog post, and so now I'm just going to show you guys again. So I like to have a little bit of a handle on there and dip it into the Versamark ink. And then let me grab paper, and then I'm going to use Metallic Gold Sparkle. Now some other colors we have in our store, we have, well, we're going to have the copper and the red glitz and metallic silver and metallic silver sparkle, and here's metallic silver sparkle, very sparkly, and we also have sand dunes and fool's gold. So these are my absolute favorite wow embossing powders. They just add such a gorgeous element to your card making projects. So I'm going to set that aside. I'm going to heat this. And then we're making a gold sparkly, kind of a faux metal accent piece. And the design team has been using this Joy and doing the gold or silver embossing powder over it quite a bit, and it just looks so stunning, and it's amazing and fabulous and gorgeous for your holiday cards. So we're just going to do it a second time. When I do regular silver or gold, I usually do it 3 or 4 times. With the metallic sparkle, I think twice usually is about good. Okay, and in the live stream the other day, we did the entire wreath in the gold sparkle, and it was gorgeous. So I'm going to pull this off of my paper holder, and if this messes up any of my edges, I can just take the heat tool and zap it. It will melt the embossing powder again, and it will smooth out those edges. Alright, so here are the pieces that I have so far. The white embossed background, and then I have the wreath, and then I have the Joy. This is such an elegant card. Love it. I'm going to do something a little different though. I'm going to grab my paper trimmer. I'm going to trim off about 3/4 of an inch. So now I just have a strip. I'm going to grab a card base and some liquid glue. I'm going to cut the wreath, and I'm going to straighten it out, and I'm going to add it to the edge, just like that. So right here, I think I'm going to have to trim So now instead of a wreath, I kind of have a swag. So I'm going to take my liquid glue. So I'm going to add liquid glue to adhere that down. I'm going to add it on there as straight as I can. Trim that off the top. I'm going to add dimensional adhesive to the back of the embossed layer. And if you guys are viewing on YouTube, make sure you hop over to catherinepooler.com. I will leave the link in the description below so you guys can head over to the blog hop and peruse the design team blogs and get inspired. Make sure you leave comments all along the way because we're giving away some stamp of approval collections. So you want to get your name in the drawing. All right, so we'll add this on the front. As I'm putting this together, I think there is one more element that I want to add. So the strip that I used to hold on to the Joy, I'm just going to do the same thing I did with Joy. I'm going to do the gold metallic sparkle, and I'm going to make a little strip. And I'm going to attach that to the card. So I added this over the top, and then the gold little strip, I added some liquid glue and I just kind of snuck it under that layer, and that really finishes it off for me. And then I'm going to add the little Joy and I'll be done. So thanks guys for hanging out with me today. I hope you're inspired and you're enjoying our blog hop. I know the design team has so much fun with these releases, and it's mostly because of you guys. You guys leave such amazing comments and are so encouraging and just have so much fun right along with us. So thank you for being here, and I will see you guys soon.